This Time and Temperature is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz of South Orlando.
This intersection, it's a busy one. It's underwater. You can see right here some of the power boxes, the poles here.
What we can only hope is that the tide was low when the strongest impacts were coming ashore over the night time hours.
Just a couple minutes ago, I did see somebody flashing the SOS signal with their flashlight. They're stuck in their building.
All right, as the sun comes up, it's going to be a busy day for first responders. And we are looking I-4 right now. It would normally be busy this time of the morning. This is by the attractions area right now.
Super important to look on the left side there, and those are all emergency, or for the most part, those are first responders, power companies, power trucks, linemen, and you see them, and they're heading from what would be a staging area to the area of need, and that's what you see on the roads right there. Those are all people that are here to help the people of Central Florida.
We do know the governor is set to talk about the recovery effort in about a half hour, and of course we're going to bring that to you live. Good morning, everyone. I'm Martha Sigalski.
And I'm Greg Warmer. This is the storm that would not quit. It is now, again, as Martha mentioned, we are in the 8 o'clock hour now. It's following really the timeline that Brian and Tom and David and Cassie have laid out for us, but that doesn't make it any better. We wanted to hurry up and get out of here. Let's go over to Severe Weather Center 9. Brian, are we getting closer to the end?
We are, and we've seen improvements, right? We've seen, now the coast is going to be an issue all day with the high surf, of course, some of the coastal flooding, but it was rocking around Seminole, Orange, Osceola, for example, Lake, right around 4 or 5 in the morning. A lot of people were waking up because of the winds. Well, those winds have subsided, so that's good news there to pass along. So we're starting to see some improvements, but as we get to the coast, you can see here again, things I know it's a little hard to see with the kind of overwash on some of the kind of the spray on the cameras, but you can't see much of a beach here. We're going to be seeing the erosion and some of the coastal flooding. I just kind of want to see if I could spin this camera around, and you can see it here as we look down. It's just a little bit hard to see though with this live look, just because of some of that spray that we've had on the camera. So it's a little bit stuck. I see it controlling on my sensors, but it's not really updating there on TV. So we may have some issues with that camera, which is not a shocker. All right, getting a look at the winds right where I was showing you. Still some of the gusts to 60, so still dangerous to kind of be out and about. Last hour we had a gust of 78 in Melbourne, down to 48. So yes, very windy along the coast, still windy inland, but gradually going down, which is good. And it's nothing like what we had overnight with those winds howling. With that said, a lot of power outages, and we had a lot of those coming after midnight. And you see some of them. Marion County, 70,000 without power. 20,000 without power in Sumter. Lake County, 100,000 without power. 200,000 without power as we get into Polk. 44,000 without power in Osceola. 96,000 now in Orange County. That's gone up just over the last 2 hours. 50,000 without power in Seminole, 82,000 without power in Brevard, 170,000 without power in Volusia, and 50,000 without power in Flagler County. Flagler and Volusia, we got hit really hard with really strong winds right around 4 or 5 in the morning. But the system is offshore. It's not coming back to us. It is going to move away. It's moving away. It is weakening. It is getting the heck out of here. Just some leftover showers. That's the last big batch offshore of Volusia, but there's this little resurgence of a band here. May get some of those gustier winds. Orange City, Sanford, and Lake Mary. All of this kind of pinwheeling around and then eventually trying to leave us. So we will be continuing to dry out. As far as the rain is concerned, you can see this blue swath of rain we had, where we had upwards of a foot of rain in parts of South Sumter, Southern Lake, Northern Polk, parts of Seminole, Orange, and Volusia. That was the bullseye. That's what we were talking about. The center would be just to the south, heaviest weathers to the north, and that's what happened. But hopeful that we're in pretty decent shape because everyone made those preparations, which was so good. All those sandbag sites, I think they did pay off for a lot of us. But, you know, we do have some problems out there, of course, with the flooding, some tornado damage, which we're going to get to in Brevard County, significant tornado damage, and we'll be covering all of that as you, of course, stay with us. But we're Florida, and we are back. Again, a lot to do for the day ahead, but again, this did not wipe us off the map as we well knew. It is 8:05. Martha, Greg.
All right, thank you very much. We are not wiped off the map. We are still on the map, and we may have been knocked down on a mat, but we're going to climb back up. All right. That was a little too much. Hurricane Milton moving across central Florida, and we have seen that heavy wind that really has pummeled the coastline, and Brevard County still feeling it.
Yeah, we have our Giovanni Diaz, who has been in Cocoa Beach, bringing us the very latest. And Gio, now that the sun is up, you can give us a better perspective of what happened there. We can see parts of that building coming down, and it's still breezy there.
It really is, Martha, and it's still coming down. We still hear pieces of the roof coming down to the ground here. I want you to take a look inside the Supercuts here. This is what's left of this business here. You can see the pieces of the roof falling into it. I don't know if you can picture that, you can visualize that, but there is what it looks like it was a lamp, a light or something that's literally dangling. It's been beating from one side to another, and we keep hearing that all the time because the wind is just blowing through this business here. Look at the ground here. Everything, pieces of tree branches that are on the ground, pieces of furniture from inside of the business, now outside of the business. We've seen, because this is a hair salon, there were hair products here on the ground. It's been just incredible to see what's left and how the damage that was caused here by this tornado that touched down this area here yesterday. We are just south of State Road 520 here on A1A here in Cocoa Beach. We are at the Banana River Center. There are multiple businesses here. Many of them were impacted by this tornado that touched down yesterday here in this area. You can see the tree branches here still on this side of the business here. This was a parking lot, and now it's obviously empty, and you can see the tree branches here. There is a wire here that I'm assuming was connected to the Supercuts here that is still here on the ground. We're waiting to see if any utility company is going to stop by here later today. I don't know what kind of wire this is, so we're not going to get any closer to it. You see here in the back more pieces of the roof right here, and if you go all the way to the back, there are more pieces of that roof. That's heavy stuff, you guys. This is not simple, like it's not plastic, it's metal. It's layers and layers of metal that the wind just keeps blowing. And the last time you saw me, it was much stronger. It's slowly dying down, but it's still quite strong here where we are. It's also raining now, which has been on and off for a while. And we've been talking about it. This community here is very concerned, especially about storm surge and about flooding, because we are very close to the ocean, and it's been raining for the past 3 days. So the ground is already saturated here. Folks are really concerned about that. But the good news is that we have not seen flooding where we are here. We just see a lot of damage. And if you take a look at that parking spot over the parking lot over there, it's a covered parking lot. And you can see the sheets that cover that roof just peeling off there. This is how strong the winds were here in this area. Again, it's slowly getting better here. If you see on the ground across the street, also over there on the grass, there's more pieces of the roof here. Right here in front of me right now, where I am, there is a piece here of the Supercuts. See? This is one of the signs that work here at this location. But again, now it's just taking a look at the damage, seeing what's left of this tornado that impacted here this area yesterday, and just keep monitoring what's going to happen. Now the good news is that, again, the wind is slowly going down, and we are seeing the other side of this severe weather event that we faced here in Brevard County. That's the latest here, reporting live in Brevard County. I'm Giovanni Diaz, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Gio, thanks so much. Channel 9's Q McCrae is live for us in Altamont Springs in that Shadow Bay neighborhood where the actions of one person has disrupted an entire neighborhood. Q, you did such a great job the last hour explaining what's going on up there. I'm going to hand things over to you to do it again.
Thank you, Martha. Well, you know, our viewers have seen this intersection before. We've shown it to them countless of times since April, covered with water just like it is now, but it's never been this bad when we've shown it to them. This, of course, is the result of Hurricane Milton and one homeowner's decision to fill her drainage pipe in her backyard full of concrete. This is the Shadow Bay neighborhood. We're on Shadow Bay Boulevard. This is the scene for about 2 blocks right now. And usually when we do this story in this neighborhood, you know, we can walk through the water as I am right now, but it's never over like ankle deep. Right now, the water is over ankle deep, and according to the residents here, this is the worst it has been. Now, Martha was talking about the backstory. The story goes all the way back to April. That's when one of the homeowners here, named Diane Goglis, whose home is right behind me, she decided that she wanted to do something with the drainage pipe behind her home. It was an eyesore. She didn't want it there anymore. So what she did is she went door to door with letters and posted them on everybody's door, telling them, listen, if you guys don't help me out with dealing with this drainage pipe behind my home, I'm going to fill it with concrete. She didn't get the answer she wanted from her neighbors, so she called a contractor out here and filled the drainage pipe full of concrete. And since then, every time it rains, this is what happens. Whether it's a small rainfall, whether it's one of those thunderstorms that we get just about every afternoon here in the summer in Central Florida, well, this is the damage done by Hurricane Milton. And this water, it's going to be, it looks like there's might be a utility truck trying to make its way through here right now. But this water's not going anywhere anytime soon. Found out from one of the other homeowners here in the neighborhood that Mrs. Goglis went ahead and got herself a pump to pump the water out of her backyard into the street area. I also found out that there are a couple of other homeowners on her side of the street. Yep, here we go. Here's the fire department making its way through this water. So there are a number of homeowners trying to, deal with this issue individually with pumps in their backyard to get the water off of their property. But in the meantime, the road here is underwater. Now, there was a ruling last month, as a matter of fact. I was in the civil courthouse in Sanford when this happened. The ruling was that Ms. Goglis was to find a contractor to fix this issue by October 1st, and if she didn't, she would be fined daily until the drainage pipe issue was solved. And then there was a couple of other rulings where they gave her some extra time. Now she has to find a contractor. That contractor has to be approved by the county. And once that happens, then the contractor can, All
right, I guess we lost Keith's live shot. But the bottom line is that this woman was supposed to fix it. Do we have him back? Hugh, go ahead. You were explaining.
Yeah, so there was a ruling, I think it was 2.5 weeks ago, right before Helene went through, where she now has to find a contractor to remove the concrete from her backyard, and then that contractor has to be approved by the county first before that contractor can do the work. So that's where we are in the process of rectifying the issues here at the Shadow Bay community. I think we're about to go to break, so back to you guys inside.
The last time this happened, as we know, Greg, the water was up, but a different storm, and some guy needed oxygen, and he couldn't get his oxygen because the person who had the oxygen couldn't get down the street because of the high floodwater. So it's just a bad situation for those poor folks up there.
Yeah, not very neighborly, that's for sure. We're going to continue our coverage. We'll have a quick break here. We'll come back with the latest from around Central Florida as we continue to check how much rainfall we have had, because that neighborhood, again, it floods. Other neighborhoods that didn't have a neighbor put concrete down the drainage pipes also flooded. We'll have the latest next.
Next Jeopardy! Here's a contestant who knows how to play the long game.
34 years ago, I passed the teen tournament test. Here I am now.
You're the world's oldest Teen Jeopardy champion.
Next Jeopardy!
Brought to you by your Southeast Toyota dealers.
Good morning, and thank you so much for continuing to watch us here at Channel 9 as we have tracked Milton. I'm Martha Sigalski.
I'm Greg Wormuth. We certainly appreciate the feedback. A lot of folks appreciated the loyalty or the dedication of all of our workers here at Channel 9. The reporters, people behind the scenes have been up from the beginning of the storm to what hopefully will be the end of it, and then we begin what will be the rebuilding and the helping of neighbors, which is something that we'll all rally around and do. We've done that many times before, and we'll do it again. Channel 9 San Martello is an area that was hit so hard 2 years ago by Ian, and this looks like it might be a similar impact along our coastline. What are you seeing now that you've gotten a little closer to the ocean?
Yeah, Greg and Martha, now that we have first light, we're actually able to see a little bit better out here. We wanted to come out back towards the ocean, and you can see that the water has come up to this seawall here. But I was talking to the Hard Rock Hotel's manager, which is where we're standing right now. He told us that they're not seeing any damage to their seawall, which of course is great news, because he told us back in 2022 when Hurricane Ian was here that they did have damage. So just looking along this way, I'm not seeing much. Obviously the water is up, but I'm not seeing much damage to these seawalls. Now, it is not high tide at this moment. We are expecting high tide at around noon, 1 o'clock this afternoon. So I don't know how much that is going to change things, but at this time, not seeing much damage specifically right here where we are standing right now. Now, we have been talking about how we have seen a lot of debris flying around at the moment. While it has stopped raining, the winds have died down a bit. It is still obviously very windy outside. I'm going to start with the Hard Rock's sign that they have here. Sheet metal has been flying off of that throughout the morning, and you can see some of it still flapping there. My photographer, Mateo, and the hotel manager have been dragging in pieces of sheet metal throughout the morning, so it wasn't a projectile for anybody else that ventures outside. Now, working down to the deck here at the Hard Rock, you can see that little pavilion tent type setup right there. I think it may be usually used for a stage or something. That has just been torn to shreds, so that is definitely going to have to be replaced. I'm actually very surprised these lights are still standing. These have made it through the storm, but still, well, you can see some of the sea foam flying around here too this morning. So thankfully, the rain has stopped. I'm actually seeing some blue skies, which really is a welcoming sign after the night that we had. So we're hoping to get out a bit more when it's safe so we can look around and see what this area is looking like. But for now, that is the latest live here in Daytona Beach. Sam Martello, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Sam, thanks so much. And if you're just waking up with us, Eyewitness News this morning anchor Alexa Lorenzo is joining us now.
Yeah, and she's got to look at what is happening or has happened in the Altamont and Seminole County area.
Yeah, we start this morning with this new video. It's from the Seminole County Fire Department. This is the second video they've given us of Forest Avenue just near Altamont Drive. This is in Altamont Springs. You can see right here the smoke coming from a blown transformer right here, down power lines, down trees. We spoke earlier with the director of the emergency management in Seminole County, and he says they did respond to this. One person was hurt, but they're expected to be okay. But that power line, that down tree blocking Forest Avenue here this morning. Then this is from Daytona Beach Fire Rescue. This is Clyde Morris Boulevard and Bill France Boulevard. About 2 hours ago, just flooding, massive flooding at this intersection. And then we got this in just a few moments ago. It's a picture from Bumby and Michigan near the Juvenile Justice Center. The roads are still open through here, but crews will be responding. You can see the roof just torn off of that gas station. So the message has been continuously from all of our law enforcement agencies to stay off the road, because you will see impacts and you will see flooding. We have some lanes closed on the turnpike moving northbound near Popka Vineland Road for some water covering the lanes there. We also have flooding on the 429 southbound near the turnpike. So some hazardous conditions if you're trying to get out and about this morning. Just hold back. Those crews are out there making sure those roads will be passable for you later on in the afternoon. Greg, Martha.
Yeah, and thank you, Alexa. We saw on one of the earlier traffic cams, the roads were wide open except for in one direction, and it was our electric line repair folks and other emergency responders to try to get everything as close to back to normal, at least get it operational here in Central Florida so we can begin to clean up.
Just want to let you know the governor is set to speak in less than 10 minutes, and as soon as he comes to the podium to brief us on what's happening across our area and on the west coast of Florida, we of course will bring them to you live.
All right, let's go on over to Severe Weather Center 9 as we all will get a breath of fresh air as soon as we can get this storm out of here.
Yeah, and it's working that way. So I have a lot more in the way of good news to pass along versus the last few days. But thank you for making all those preps and doing all of that. I think that has really helped a lot of us. just kind of get through all of this stuff. This is what we do around here. 60-mile-per-hour wind gust still in Daytona Beach, 43 in Melbourne, still around 50 in Sanford. So the winds are still whipping around, not like it was though. Winds are starting to go down kind of significantly. The system is offshore. The center of it, not really an eye at this point, is over here, and it doesn't even look like a hurricane anymore. It's really not tropical at this point. I think they're still going to keep it classified for the rest of today, but it's really lost its tropical characteristics at this point. That's what we expected with that dry air sneaking in. There's been a front up to the north, but that expanded its wind field. That's why all of us, from Marion, Flagler, back through Osceola, Brevard, Sumter, we all felt at least some impacts from this, kind of that widespread weather event as expected. Still some leftover rain, little batch here. It's not the biggest batch, but some wind-driven rain right here, Deltona, Orange City, Sanford, Oviedo, back through Bithlo, and of course, still along our coast, right along the Cape, watching Merritt Island. This all rotating around Trotwood Park, Winter Springs, right on the edge of Hunters Creek and Meadowwoods, more so over toward UCF and Waterford Lakes, Avalon Park. All of this just rotating around, but it is all moving away. So taking a look at the winds as we get into the next couple hours. This is 10 this morning, so about 2 hours from now, less than that. Some of the winds still gusting 40 to about 50 along our coast. Then by the time we at 1 o'clock, you see the winds breezy to windy, but nothing super crazy later today once we get into the afternoon, with the exception along our beaches. The surf is going to be way up. Sam was talking about the high tide into the afternoon. A lot of those new seawalls, they did a great job building those. So looks like many of those are in good shape. But, you know, we need to see the problems that we've had at the coast, and there's still going to be that beach erosion. So the rain chance about to leave us, as everything will be kicking away throughout the day. Numbers will be in the 70s. And by the way, it looks like this system may have worked in the dry season early, which also means lower humidity and a drop in temps. I'll show you that in just a second. But you see here, this is 10 this morning, still along the coast, some tropical storm conditions. Use some caution if you have to get out later today. But let's let the crews get out there first to assess stuff. As you saw what Alexa was showing, we have some of that damage around. And then you see here, could see a spotty onshore shower later today. 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and still the onshore flow. So that surf is going to be so significant today. We'll still have that coastal overwash, and watching out for some additional beach erosion with this. Now, let's get into that 7-day forecast for you, and you can see some better news. Now, with this area moving off, it's kind of sucked down that front a little bit quicker. So some great temperatures ahead, and we deserve it in more ways than one. 80 degrees tomorrow. Rain chance stays minimal tomorrow, just 80. Comfortable, low to mid 80s, but even as we warm up, we're just around 85 as we get into the forecast. And you see that rain chance, it stays pretty low as we go forward. And then as we work our way through the weekend, overnight lows will be in the 60s. So if you lost some power and you don't have power this weekend or AC, at least at night, it is going to be more comfortable with lows in the 60s. Some of our fall weather has arrived. And looking down the road as well as we get into next week, you see by Wednesday, another front's going to move in, another fall front. We will have some temperatures by the time we get into Wednesday morning in the 50s and 60s. Our northern zones will be in the 50s on Wednesday morning. Daytime highs on Wednesday will be running around 78 degrees. So much to look forward to in the forecast, but I know, thinking of those who had dealt with the damage with this, and we're going to continue to get out there and find kind of what's going on and ways to best serve you after this hurricane. So we've got you covered, but thank you for your trust and, of course, patience going through this hurricane. Let's hope there's no more as the rest of the season goes on. It is 8:26. Martha, Greg.
All right. Thanks so much, Brian. We want to let you know that, again, we're expecting the governor to speak now in less than 5 minutes. And if and when he does, we will bring that to you live.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break, come back with Governor Ron DeSantis as he gives us a recap of what we all just went through over this last, more than 24 hours. We'll be right back.
All right, coming up upon 8:30, where we are expecting to hear from our governor, Governor Ron DeSantis. Folks getting ready to hear him. As soon as he comes to the podium, we will bring it to you live. Good morning. I'm Martha Sigalski.
And I'm Greg Wormuth as we wrap up our coverage here, staying with you throughout the night and then handing it off to our normal morning team. We want to thank you for watching us and letting us be a part of this storm as we all tracked it together and lived it overnight. And let's head on over to severe weather Weather Center 9, and Brian Shields is here. And Brian, we're about ready to say goodbye for good.
We have the governor, Brian. Sorry. We're going to go to Governor Ron DeSantis, who is speaking right now.
Yeah.
Deanne Criswell, Florida State Guard Director, Mark Theme, and Major General John Haas from the Florida National Guard. Around 8:30 last night, Hurricane Milton made landfall near Siesta Key in Sarasota County. It moved quickly across central Florida overnight, producing significant flooding and damaging winds near its path. The storm did bring much destruction and damage. Tornadoes ravaged parts of the east coast of the state. Flooding occurred on the west and east coast, and strong winds lashed the state, especially in Pinellas, Hillsborough, Manatee, and Sarasota counties. Over the last 24 hours, heavy rainfall totals upwards of 10 to 15 inches has been observed across much of the Tampa Bay area, Nature Coast, and spreading eastward along north of I-4 corridor towards Sanford. Isolated pockets of up to 18 inches of rainfall were observed in Pinellas and coastal Hillsborough counties. 5 to 10 inches of rainfall has been observed further northward towards Gainesville, along eastern portions of the I-4 corridor, and south of the western I-4 corridor towards Sarasota. Several rivers reached major flood stage, and major flooding continues along portions of the Hillsborough River, St. Johns River, and Little Wekiva River. Water levels are forecast to continue rising along northeast and west central Florida rivers and waterways, with many forecasts to remain within or reach moderate to flood stage over the next day or so. We had over 80,000 people that were into shelters overnight as the storm hit the state. We will better understand the extent of the damage as the day progresses. And you have people that are out there assessing damage right now. First responders have been working all through the night to help people who were in distress. And what we can say is the storm was significant, but thankfully this was not the worst case scenario. The storm did weaken before landfall, and the storm surge, as initially reported, has not been as significant overall as what was observed for Hurricane Helene. Right now, it looks like Sarasota County had the most significant storm surge, likely somewhere between 8 to 10 feet. And remember, with Helene, we had 15 to 20 feet up in Taylor County. Rescue missions have been underway throughout the night. State search and rescue teams report at least 48 individuals have been rescued as of 06:30. National Guard search and rescue teams have worked overnight and successfully executed rescues of families and pets on the west coast and from the destruction of the tornadoes in the central and eastern parts of Florida. The Guard continues to work into the morning and have 31 rescue aircraft operational and hundreds of rescuers engaged in over 125 active missions in 26 different counties. Over 6,500 soldiers are deployed throughout the state. Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission has made land and water rescues in Pinellas, Hillsborough, and Pasco County. The State Guard has also been engaged in search and rescue, assisting with floodwater evacuations as well as damage assessments. There are currently 3.1 million accounts without power. There have been 635,000 restorations since Hurricane Milton hit Florida. The areas that have the most significant outages as of this morning are Hillsborough, 75% out, Hardy, 97% out, Manatee, 82% out, Pinellas, 68% out, and Sarasota, 75% out. Of course, there are 50,000 plus linemen that have been pre-staged. A lot of what they'll do this morning is likely assess the damage and then begin restoration operations very quickly. And we appreciate everybody that's in that fight, because that's very important for a lot of people. Cut and toss have begun at first light by the Florida Department of Transportation. 328 crews are active in the field with over 350 pieces of heavy equipment and trucks. 150 bridge inspectors were dispatched at first light and have begun performing inspections to open bridges across the impact areas. As I put in my executive order, residents have a right to be back into their homes as soon as the roadways are deemed safe. In Tampa, the Gandy Bridge and Howard Franklin Bridge have been inspected, cleared, and are open, and inspections of the Sunshine Skyway Bridge are underway. There is debris on the Sunshine Skyway as well as the Courtney Campbell. But once that debris is clear, we anticipate those bridges opening later this morning. Other bridges are being opened as soon as the state inspections are completed. The Tampa Airport is repairing minimal damage and should be open no later than tomorrow. Seaports are awaiting Coast Guard channel surveys to reopen waterside, but as of now, our initial assessments is they will likely be able to resume operations very quickly. We still have a lot of school closures for today. I think Floridians should just keep in contact with their local officials about what that's going to be. I would imagine a lot of the schools that were not necessarily in the direct path of the storm will be open tomorrow. It may take a few more days for some of the places that were harder hit. Now, as you survey damage and clean up, please be cautious of hazards. We have post-storm fatalities almost every storm, and a lot of these fatalities are avoidable. So please be cautious of downed power lines. Don't touch them. Don't remove tree debris that may be entangled with downed power lines. Standing water can conceal downed power lines and other hazards, so please be mindful and never walk through storm waters. Standing storm waters can also carry a bacteria that can lead to fatal infections. This type of infection was responsible for a fatality following Hurricane Helene, so please avoid wading through standing water. Please use proper ladder safety. Please use proper generator safety. Do not operate the generator inside your home. It must be outside, a safe distance from doors and windows. Visit Florida's emergency accommodation modules on Expedia and Priceline will remain available for those who are returning to their homes which were evacuated during the storm and sustained damage or in need of other type of shelter. So these models will continue to provide real-time hotel availability and lodging resources, making the experience easier for users. If traffic lights are out in your area, please drive with caution and treat each light as you would a four-way stop. And also remember, if you're going to use a chainsaw, be very careful with that. We have mishaps on that after every storm. We are extending the Hope Florida line for another 2 weeks at 24 hours, 7 days a week. So if you need assistance or resources post-storm, you can call 1-833-GET-HOPE, 1-833-GET-HOPE. Hope Florida's Disaster Arm, Activate Hope, is a program designed to help people find help following a disaster such as a hurricane. So you can call the Hope line. You can also visit the Hope bus, which will be in some of these areas very soon, and there'll be announcements about that. Florida Commerce and the State Emergency Response Team activated the Business Damage Assessment Survey in response to Hurricane Milton. Business owners can self-report physical and economic damage caused by the storm. Businesses can complete the survey online at floridadisaster.biz, floridadisaster.biz. Florida Commerce has also activated the Small Business Emergency Bridge Loan Program. We have $50 million available to Florida small businesses, and it's a zero-interest loan, very flexible repayment options. You can apply for loans of up to $50,000 through the program. Loans of up to $100,000 are available for agriculture and aquaculture small businesses, and loans of $150,000 are available for citrus and cattle operations. Again, these are short-term zero-interest loan. You get the cash in your hand. The repayment terms are very flexible. You can apply at www.floridajobs.org/EBL, floridajobs.org/EBL. We've also activated the Florida Disaster Fund for those who want to make tax-deductible charitable contributions that will be used to be able to help Floridians who are in need. And you can go to floridadisasterfund.org, floridadisasterfund.org, if you have any questions. We're going to continue to support all remaining rescue missions that are underway and that may be needed in the near future. We'll also continue to assess the damage that was done from the storm. We also anticipate that because of the amount of water, you may see flooding happen not just now, but in the subsequent days. But I think everybody responded very quickly. I'm proud of everybody's hard work. We got more work to do, but we will absolutely get through this. Okay, Kevin Guthrie.
Good morning, everyone. Governor, thank you for your leadership time and time again. I know you and the State Emergency Response Team will lead the charge as we respond to and recover from this storm. Hurricane Milton officially made landfall. As you heard the governor say, the impacts from the storm are still being felt across north and east central Florida, even right now as that last banding train of rain starts to move offshore. Please, especially if you're in the areas, if you're in those areas of northeast Florida, the east Race Coast, Space Coast, please make sure you're sheltering in place until officials determine it is safe for you to leave. In the first 72 hours after a storm, there is a parallel effort to search, secure, and stabilize the area. As search and rescue missions continue in response to Milton, please do not go out and visit the impacted areas. You will be inhibiting first responders by doing so. Right now, we need those roadways clear for electrical crews, fire crews, EMS crews, urban search and rescue crews. We have 20-something urban search and rescue teams that will move into the area and do a door-by-door search. Even though, as you heard the governor say, this was not the worst-case scenario, we still had damage. And we're going to need to get out there and go door-to-door and make sure that everyone is okay. So please stay off the road. Listen to your local authorities for updates on when it is safe to go outside and when it is safe for you to return to your homes. I know a lot of people evacuated, and we appreciate that. Do not be in a hurry. Check in with your local emergency management agency, your local sheriff's offices to see if they're posting anything on if it's safe to return home. Please make sure you do that. Again, as the governor said, we're going to open up roads and bridges so that you can do so, but there may be extenuating circumstances at the neighborhood level. So please make sure you're checking before you come back home. Major flooding continues along the Hillsborough, St. Johns, and Little Wekiva rivers. I want to take just a moment and just talk about there is going to be another phase to this particular incident, and that is very similar to Hurricane Ian. We have a lot of rain that has fallen over the central portion of Florida. The St. Johns River basin that comes down into Seminole County, Brevard, portions of Brevard, portions of Volusia County, and on up the St. Johns River. Those headwaters have experienced a lot of rainfall. That river takes about 45 days to completely flush itself out to the Atlantic Ocean. So what we're going to be seeing first is impacts down in the Seminole County and surrounding county area, and then you'll see that move up into Palatka, Weelaca, and then on up into St. Johns, Flagler, Clay, Duval counties. So that's going to be a long-term effort when it comes to making sure that people are monitoring the situation on the St. Johns River, as well as the ones that I mentioned, the Hillsborough and the Little Wekiva. Some roadways are flooded, which is not a safe situation for anyone. Please do not attempt to walk or drive through floodwaters. Accidents due to floodwaters are 100% preventable. All you got to do is turn around. If you're sheltered in place or when you return to your home and you're looking at the damages around your home right now, do one thing for us. Take out your phone, take some pictures. Inside and outside, all four sides of the house, every room inside the house. What are things that you should be documenting? Make sure you're documenting just the physical damages, but then also, since this was a flooding event, we want to make sure that you capture those, what we call high water marks on your home. Do that inside and outside. For a point of reference, when you're on the outside of the home, make sure you get like the doorknob of the outdoor house. That'll give us a reference, a point of reference on how high that water got. If you're on the inside, make sure you have like an electrical socket or a light switch or, again, a door handle on the inside of your home in the picture so that we can get some type of reference as to how high that water is coming. If you're beginning the cleanup process, please ensure you're wearing the appropriate safety gear. Do not attempt to clean up hazardous debris or down power lines, as the governor has said. Report all of that to your local authorities. Do not cut any lines. Again, we do not need Florida man and Florida woman out there cutting random lines as they go. You don't know what is a cable line. You don't know what is an electrical line. And probably more importantly these days is you don't know what is a fiber optic line. Most of our 911 lines run across fiber optic. We do not want anybody cutting lines. Let the professionals come in here and identify what it is before it's cut. Remember, again, some roads are still dangerous due to flooding, debris, and potential downlines. Do not risk it. Let our crews get out there and get everything back up and running. For assistance after the storm, call State Assistance Information Line. Again, that's information only, 1-800-342-3557. Help is available in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. FloridaDisaster.org/updates for information on the web. And then, of course, follow us at FLSERT on X and Instagram, and Facebook at FDEM. That is the most trusted and fastest source that we have. We have several people helping us out on posting on social media, so that is going to be the best place and the fastest place to get stuff from us. Thank you, Governor DeSantis, again, as together we will overcome this storm.
Okay. Roger.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Governor DeSantis, for reestablishing and resourcing this state guard so we can deliver critical emergency response capabilities right to the point of need. Working alongside Director Guthrie's, General Haas, and Director Young's and the rest of his state agencies, personnel moving rapidly in order to save lives, rescue our citizens, and minimize human suffering. Throughout the night and this morning, our Special Missions Unit with search and rescue, K-9, paramedic, and swiftwater rescue teams moved throughout the most severely impacted areas between Pasco and Sarasota counties, working with local authorities to provide on-water and overland search and rescue and route assessment capabilities. Our maritime unit is also engaged with FWC with 10 boat teams and high water vehicle teams in order to expand the capacity of the local counties' abilities to conduct waterborne reconnaissance and search and rescue operations. Our aviation unit with Black Hawks and drones with live stream and 3D map rendering capabilities will begin conducting air operations today in coastal and inland community areas in order to enable those local authorities to paint the picture and focus their resources. Ladies and gentlemen, we are laser focused on search and rescue operations today.
Good morning, everyone, and I'd like to also thank Governor DeSantis for his unwavering support during these times of critical need. We are fortunate and blessed to live in a state where the governor has such support for state agencies that put Floridians first. I want to also thank DEM Director Kevin Guthrie for his outstanding leadership and support, and his DEM team for their coordination and communication with all state agencies, making us the leading leaders in the nation for emergency response. We're privileged and honored to be a part of that team. Responding to hurricanes and natural disasters is what we do. As FWC officers, we have unique equipment, training, and support from Governor DeSantis and Director Guthrie to be able to provide immediate support in the wake of natural disasters and hurricanes. This is through the use of specialized equipment like shallow draft boats, airboats, swamp buggies, and other equipment to provide high water rescues. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. We have deployed 135 officers teamed up with the Florida State Guard, the Division of Finance Services CUT teams, Florida Ag Law, the Florida National Guard, and the Miccosukee Tribe Law Enforcement, and local sheriff's offices up and down the coast and across the state to provide search and rescue efforts to those in greatest need. Teams with these specialized equipment for search and rescue across the state are hard at work right now. Our search and rescue efforts are ongoing, and so far this morning we've reported over 42 rescues in several counties. In Pinellas County, we've had so far 7 land rescues, 3 water rescues, several welfare checks. There were 2 arrested for looting for battery on LEO with our teams in the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, and 21 rescued from an apartment building. These rescues started yesterday in the wake of the tornadoes. We had 7 local FWC officers respond to a tornado event where they rescued 6 and evacuated 4, or evacuated by 4x4 vehicles, and also conducted 30 welfare checks. In Pasco County, operations are ongoing, responding to multiple intersections, clearing trees and debris, allowing emergency vehicles to access storm-damaged areas, and responding to calls for service. In Hillsborough County, there are several people assisted from a vehicle in a ditch, 1 pulled from a flooded vehicle, 3 individuals removed from a flooded apartment, and there was another 100 evacuated at an assisted living facility, and another 20 evacuated from a senior facility in Tampa. So again, these efforts are ongoing. They're ongoing across the state. Like Director Guthrie said, there is going to be flooding events across the state in central and northern Florida. So please be aware, if you're in a flood-prone area, be aware of this. Our teams will be able to respond and alert all through the state throughout this time. So again, I want to thank Governor DeSantis for his leadership and support, and FWC is here to work with our partners to make sure that the Floridians are safe during this event. Thank you.
So we'll continue with the rescue operations as needed. There's a lot of damage assessments that are going to be going on today, and we're very obviously supportive of the power restoration operations. We're glad that all those folks were staged, and then also just ensuring that fuel is flowing. Hopefully we get our gas stations and big box stores and everything open very quickly. I'd imagine that will likely happen, and just get people back on their feet, and that's going to be our focus. Okay, any questions?
Pinellas County, it's my understanding that deputies there are restricting access into the area. I don't know if you have any insight into that, or...
I don't. I mean, we're going to open the bridges. I know a couple of them are open. The other two, there's going to be debris that are going to be removed, and those bridges will be open for traffic, and Floridians can use those as they see fit. Yep.
Fatalities, has there been a tally yet as to...
Not yet. I mean, I know there have been reports. We have not confirmed any. That does not mean there has not been any. There's a process where this happens with the state. I know with the tornadoes, it seems very likely that there were some with the tornadoes. That's the only reports we've received. No confirmations. I imagine there's going to be some confirmations, but it's too soon to tell with respect to the West Coast and the storm surge and everything. So stay tuned on that.
Storm, some Wall Street analysts predicted that Milton's losses could exceed $50 billion. Does the state have any sort of...
How the hell would a Wall Street analyst be able to know? It's been dark all day. What, you just going to know that you're going to do? I mean, like, give me a break on some of this stuff. They're doing damage assessments now. They always say this or that or whatever. I mean, what I would say is what I said in the original talkers. We had certain worst case scenarios in terms of going into Tampa Bay. A lot of places in Pinellas County, they had negative storm surge because it sucked the water out of the bay. So in terms of all that, where you'd see the entire Tampa Bay area underwater, that did not happen. The storm surge, it was most acute in Sarasota. And I think it was a little bit more than Sarasota got for Helene, but it wasn't like so much more. I think it was 8 to 10 feet. Helene, of course, got almost to 20 in Taylor County. And then I think the fact that the storm weakened, I think I'm not saying there's not going to be damage. There will be a cut across the state in a way that Helene did not. But in terms of just right now, the morning after, if I think back to like Hurricane Ian, I don't think that you're looking at similar amount of damage to Ian. And then with Helene, there may end up being more overall damage. There may not. I don't know. But definitely the surge did not reach Helene levels. I mean, Helene was producing major surge all across the west coast of Florida, and then in the Big Bend, it was just biblical. That was not necessarily what we have in here. Anything north of the storm had minimal surge on the west coast, and it was really kind of that Sarasota, Charlotte Harbor, down into Lee, Collier, but compared to what they had with Hurricane Ian, that is not on the same level. So we'll see. There'll be a lot more that'll need to be done to assess the extent of the damage. But what I think we can say is, we have a lot of resources in play here in Florida to be able to mitigate and get people back on their feet and get the state moving again. I think that's what people want. They want to get back in their homes. They want to see the roads clear. They want to see the bridges reopen. And so that's what our sole focus, so that we get people back.
The areas, Tropicana Field, Hertz roof shattered. It's my understanding that they were relocated on Wednesday.
Yeah, they were relocated. So, I mean, the Tropicana Field is a routine staging area for these things. The roof on that is not rated for, I think it's rated for 110 miles an hour. And so, the forecast changes, but as it became clear that there was going to be something of that magnitude that was going to be within the distance, they redeployed them out of Tropicana. So there were no state assets that were in Tropicana Field. I think Duke also removed all their assets as well. And you look, the roof is basically, it's like a fabric almost with that. So that was something that we understood and acted accordingly.
What time were they?
They were moved before the storm. So there was no issue with anything with that.
How severe is this water main break in St. Petersburg? My understanding is at least earlier this morning, the city had no access.
Kevin can talk about that. I know he's been engaged in that.
Yep. So about 1:40 this morning, I received a phone call. Woke up, got over here from that building to this building, got over here and started working the issue. Right now, there are several water main breaks throughout Pinellas County, different water systems. Some are municipal, some are county. But what they're doing is they're slowly raising pressure in those lines to actually figure out exactly where the breaks are at. And they're going to start repairing those breaks one by one by one. You may start to see some things come out of the hospital industry. We have stabilized the hospital situation. There is one active evacuation of a hospital right now. I do not have the name of that hospital. We can certainly get that back to you through our folks. But we have stabilized the water pressure in 4 out of 5 hospitals from getting any worse. So we're going to continue to closely monitor that throughout the day. But again, one active evacuation going on, but we have stabilized. We have water tankers on site pushing pressure back into the systems. But I think our biggest thing to talk about, or I shouldn't say talk about, but the biggest thing right now in that Pinellas, St. Pete area is going to be the water system, but we're working in conjunction to see how we can support and supplement the cities and the county on what resources they need. We've already dispatched logistical folks into the area. We've sent in engineers on our dime to be as helpful as we can. In one situation, it may be a gasket or a flange. In another situation, it may be a complete water main break. But we stand by ready to support Pinellas and St. Pete and other municipalities to help them get that water back on and running. Because again, power and water are right there together. We can do a lot with power, but we got to have water.
Are you aware of any impacts to the Kinder Morgan Central Florida pipeline system?
Jason, I don't have anything on that particular pipeline system, but I'll find out what I can offline, and we'll close the loop back with you guys. All right.
Sorry to jump will that impact any of the post-storm recovery efforts given that they're in Jacksonville?
No, well, they're not in there's some came from Jacksonville originally. Kevin put them in different places to just ride out the storm and then come back in. So no, it's not going to have any major impacts at all. These are just things you've got to do. You stage and you figure out kind of how to go. They were staged during Helene there, and it worked well. When the forecast said that it may not make it through with the roof, then they adjusted accordingly. But they're in the fight and they'll continue to do it. Okay, thanks.
All right, if you're just tuning in, this is Kirsten Delgado and Alexa Lorenzo at the desk here, giving Martha and Greg a well-deserved break after 18 hours on the desk here. But if you're just joining us, that was the governor speaking live from Tallahassee. Now we're in what they call search, secure, and stabilize. We'll be in that kind of recovery, rescue type of mode for 72 hours. Right now, of course, heading into the storm, we knew there were 50,000 linemen staged at the ready, some of which were staged with Duke Energy in the villages out of the storm's path so that they can be close enough to respond.
And now at almost 9 a.m. on Thursday, a lot of those crews are moving out, making rescues across the state. We've had some here locally in Central Florida already. You reported some out of Orange County. We've seen some out of Volusia County. So as we get first light, we are seeing the impacts of Milton here in the Central Florida area as well.
So we'll be back here on Channel 9 with continuous coverage of Hurricane Milton.
Central Florida's chief meteorologist Tom Terry, only on Channel 9.
Our viewers have seen this intersection before. We've shown it to them countless of times since April, covered with water just like it is now, but it's never been this bad.
Now, working down to the deck here at the Hard Rock, you can see that little pavilion tent type setup right there. That has just been torn to shreds.
Around 8:30 last night, Hurricane Milton made landfall near Siesta Key in Sarasota County. It moved quickly across central Florida overnight.
And within the last half hour, Governor Ron DeSantis spoke about the damage caused by Hurricane Milton. Thank you for joining us. It's 9 o'clock hour. I'm Kirsten Delgado.
And I'm Alexa Lorenzo. The recovery process is ready to get started across Florida. We have some flooding reported in Orange County. Here's a live look in Orlando. You can see right here the water rising right here near those mailboxes. We're working to get the exact location from our crews on the ground, but it is something that we have seen in pockets of Orange County in the College Park, Edgewater area. We saw a flooding response early this morning. We've also seen it in Volusia County. So we have got you covered as you start waking up this morning and pick up the pieces right here from Hurricane Milton. To get you the latest on where the hurricane is heading, it's moving on out slowly but surely. Here's certified meteorologist Cassandra Crimi.
Right, and I updated these because I wanted to get them to you right away. Tom had a list of these numbers as they were coming in, but the National Weather Service dropped a whole bunch more of some of the peak wind gusts that we had. Some of the highest numbers over in northern Brevard County near the Kennedy Space Center, near Playa Linda Beach, 92 mile per hour wind gusts with this storm system. Daytona and down near OIA, 87 mile per hour wind gusts. Ponce Inlet, 86 mile per hour wind gusts. Outside now, we are definitely seeing some major improvement. But over at our coastline, we're still looking at wind gusts in the 50+ mile per hour range up in Daytona Beach. Our far interior zones, though, really starting to see those things quiet down. Rain still around. We've got some of those gusty showers over at our beaches, but a lot of Central Florida is now waking up to some of those dry skies. So if we look at the big picture, where is Milton? It's still a Category 1 storm off our coastline. Winds of 85 miles per hour. And again, you can see just the backside of this system bringing us those gusty showers still over at our beaches. But this is going to be pulling in some very dry and even cooler weather headed our direction. We'll hit on that a little bit as we take you through our morning hours. It's actually going to taste and feel a little fall-like as we head into this upcoming days. But as we can take you through the track, you can see Milton will likely stay a hurricane for the next couple of hours as a Category 1 before it kind of gets absorbed into this front that's actually bringing in that dry air, losing a lot of its tropical characteristics, and then staying out to sea for us. In addition to the wind gusts that we saw, mid-80s to low 90s as expected, look at the rainfall, just this swath from right along the I-4 corridor, essentially Daytona Beach all the way down towards Tampa. We start to get in these shaded areas of the blue, the whites, then we start to return back to the pinks. I threw on a couple of little pixel queries for, again, these are radar estimated rain totals. We're going to be getting numbers in as we go throughout the day, but look at all of these levels in that stretch. Easily above a foot, 12 to 14 inches of rain falling within those locations. And again, that leading to a lot of the flooding concerns and issues that we have around Central Florida. Additional rainfall today, really not a whole lot. You can see as we head over to the coastline, we'll have another 1/10 of an inch to 2/10 of an inch potentially. Inland, we're going to be staying on the dry side. We're going to be just dealing with some of the breezier conditions as we head through the day. So again, as we take you outside, you can see the big picture. Hurricane Milton, it is off our coastline. We are now on the back side of this system, on the western side of it. Dry air is going to be filtering in for us. It will be a breezy and comfortable day. And just to give you a taste of what we'll be feeling, as many of us will be picking up as we head through this afternoon. You can see through lunchtime, breezy temperatures in the mid-70s. We'll start to bring those winds down even more as we head into our evening hours with more mid-70s. And as we go through this upcoming week, we even have some overnight temperatures back into the 60s. So some decent weather as we start to clean up. And again, we have to keep in mind now that we're in that pickup phase, some of those safety tips, I know we talked a lot about those kind of in our preparation plans, but this is going to be the time there's going to be a lot of people with power outages. We've been showing you that power outage map. We can have that in just a bit for you, but stay away from the debris. Let the people do their job. The city workers get out and clear those roads. Avoid those down power lines. And again, use those portable generators safely, which means you want to keep them out of the garage, away from your house, away from your windows, again, because that can lead to the fumes seeping into your home. But a lot of pickup. Now's the time. Many of us are going to be coming out of the front doors, checking our front yards, checking our neighbors, check in with your neighbors and friends, make sure everyone's okay. And again, we're going to get through this all together. Kirsten and Alexa.
And of course, in terms of being in recovery mode right now, we know obviously the Brevard County, Volusia County took kind of the worst of what this storm brought us, but we will be getting an update there from Brevard County EOC managers there at 9:15 tentatively. We'll bring it to you live when it starts.
And it comes after a tornado touchdown in Cocoa Beach. We had some bad damage there. Our Giovanni Diaz has been reporting live there throughout the night, so we will have an update again from Brevard in just a few moments at 9:30.
Meantime, Channel 9's Kim Cray's live for us in Altamont Springs in the Shadow Bay community. Q, I'm sure the neighbors there are not very thrilled with the woman who actually filled a storm drain there with concrete.
Yeah, they're not happy at all this morning. I've spoken to a number of them off camera. They say they're tired of talking about this. They just want this situation dealt with. But this is what they're dealing with this morning. Now, we've showed our viewers this intersection several times in the past few months. This is the intersection of Cattail Court and Shadow Bay Boulevard. Every time it rains, it floods here at this intersection. But according to the homeowners I've spoken to this morning, never this bad. And of course, all of this water is from Hurricane Milton, but the issue is being caused by one of the homeowners here who decided to take matters into her own hands. Her name is Diane Goglis. She has a drainage pipe behind her home that she considered an eyesore. She wanted it gone. So what she did is she went door to door here, put letters on everybody's doors, letting them know that she wants their help to take care of the issue, or, like I said, she's going to take matters into her own hands. She didn't get the response she wanted from all of her neighbors here, so what she did is she called in a contractor. They brought in a concrete mixer and then filled the drainage pipe behind her house full of concrete, preventing any stormwater from leaving her backyard and who knows what other type of damage it did underground. Well, because of that concrete poured down that pipe, every time it rains in this Shadow Bay community, it now floods. And as I mentioned, we've shown you the flooding here in the past. It happens after any type of rain. You know, those afternoon storms that we get every day around, 3 or 4 o'clock? Well, it floods here. But according to the residents, again, never this bad. So all morning long, we've been watching residents do their best to make their way through this water safely. And it looks like one of the homeowners is about to do that right now. I'm going to get out of the way. And you'll see how it causes a wake while they go through the water and, try to get out of here and maybe head over to one of the local drugstores or gas stations to get some coffee. But this is the situation we've been dealing with here, not just this morning, but for months and since April, since this became an issue. We'll be out here, and hopefully I'll get one of these homeowners to talk to me soon enough so we can get their point of view about what's happening here. Back to you guys inside.
That woman was given a deadline by a judge to get that drain unclogged, and clearly did not happen before this hurricane. So she's going to have some angry neighbors later today.
Yeah, not a very happy street there in Shadow Bay. Q, thank you. We will take you all across Central Florida as we begin now in the recovery process for Hurricane Milton. We have a news conference coming up in Brevard County in just about 20 minutes. Stay with us. We'll be right back. (9:15) on this Thursday morning as we begin to see some of the impacts here in Central Florida from Hurricane Milton. Here's a live look at a neighborhood in Orange County. This is Orlando. You can see right here the water that is now just sitting in this neighborhood, making its way right there to people's driveways. It has not been the best start for some people in Orange County. They woke up to flooding in the Edgewater, Winter Park neighborhood. We saw Orange County making some rescues this morning in South Daytona Luna as well. So we are now in contact with our first responders across Central Florida as they get out the door now that it's safe to do so. The wind's starting to die down to make those rescues.
Water really made an impact, especially in Orange County. We had a video this morning from Orange County Fire Rescue, Orange County Sheriff's Office, going into neighborhoods, especially along Bulk Road and Rouse Road in East Orange County, where at some points water was chest high, and some residents actually refused to leave their homes, even though deputies were there to help. But it's been quite an interesting morning to see the recovery after sunrise.
Yeah, and I want to, if we can, in the control room, pull up the shot on TX10 so you all can see this road just has a gaping hole in it. This is South Volusia Avenue, right at Tremont Drive. It's coming to us from Orange City Police. This road is impassable, clearly. So they are on the scene. They are working on it. It is closed, but it shows you the impacts that Hurricane Milton had across our area. Good Morning America has been bringing you live coverage to stations across the country, and we want to share some of it with you this morning. Take a look.
Good Morning America, it's 8 a.m. Breaking news. Hurricane Milton makes landfall in Siesta Key as an extremely dangerous Category 3 hurricane. Powerful winds up to 120 miles an hour. The roof ripped off Tampa Bay Rays Stadium. Water invades the streets and homes. Transformers blow up, sparks flying. Oh, there it was! At least 3 million people without power right now. Tampa deals with a flash flood emergency in the dark. Milton also spawns at least 36 tornadoes. Ginger tracking where Milton is heading next in the aftermath of this catastrophic storm.
Jennifer Lopez gets honest in her first interview since her high-profile split from Ben Affleck, saying it was like her whole world exploded. What she's saying about her life now, her career, the criticism, and what's next.
Understanding inflammaging, the negative effects of chronic inflammation that can contribute to aging, which can lead to serious illnesses such as cancer, heart issues, and Alzheimer's. What you can do to reduce your risk.
And Diego Luna and Gael Garcia Bernal are here, talking about their new show, back on screen together more than 20 years after their critically acclaimed film. As we say, Good Morning America.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA.
Good morning, America. On this busy Thursday morning, we want to get right to the hurricane coverage.
Michael, Milton made landfall as a major Category 3 storm in Siesta Key, but the storm's been felt across the entire state. A swarm of twisters tore through the area.
We're going to have more on that coming up. First, let's go to Ginger in Fort Myers. Good morning, Ginger.
Hey, good morning to you, George. So yes, we're right here in Fort Myers. We were in the surge, but that has receded, and now we're showing you tornado damage. So this was the third hurricane for Florida this season alone. This is a daycare that took a tornado. The roof is ripped off, that van wrecked, but we had more than 133 tornado warnings, and that was just the very beginning of what Milton had to offer.
Overnight, a ferocious Hurricane Milton slicing across Central Florida. The eye slamming into Sarasota County late Wednesday as a Cat 3 with powerful winds of up to 120 miles per hour. Those gusts uprooting trees and knocking over light poles and power lines. Watch as this transformer explodes. Oh, there it was! Sending sparks flying. Water barreling down the streets.
Storm surge just came out of nowhere.
Parts of Venice, Florida, turning into an extension of the sea. Boats in this marina rocking precariously against the violent gusts.
Oh, the boat broke out. The boat.
In St. Petersburg, those strong winds causing a crane to collapse on a building. A massive piece of it lying across the road. And ripping off part of Tropicana Field's roof, home of the Tampa Bay Rays. Its inside visible against the night sky. The hurricane spawning at least 36 reported tornadoes, with an astonishing 133 tornado warnings issued. Some of those twisters turning deadly. Multiple fatalities reported at a senior community near Fort Pierce on Florida's East Coast.
We do have multiple fatalities that we can confirm.
The tornado outbreak ripping apart the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, mingled metal mixed with rescue vehicles.
There are rescue reports coming in from Clearwater, Florida. So as the sun has come up, now we will get in and assess that damage, especially on the front right quadrant where that biggest surge likely was, say, Venice or right south of Sarasota Springs. I want to take you through what happened. The track went really well along the forecast, made landfall Siesta Key. And remember, the front side is where you get the onshore flow, and the back side is what Tampa Bay got. So that kind of anti-surge. Big time winds up there, though. St. Petersburg had a 101-mile-per-hour gust. They also had 1.5 feet of rain. Sarasota, 102-mile-per-hour gust. Orlando at 86. Tampa, 97, and a foot of rain. That puts them at their wettest season on record. Wanted to show you, too, where it is now. It's way into the water already. Still a Category 1 hurricane at 8 a.m.'s update. 85-mile-per-hour max sustained winds. And it's still moving pretty quickly away from the coast. But those hurricane warnings are in place just for the next hour or two. Surge would still be an issue because you're still pushing water back toward Jacksonville Beach or Daytona Beach or New Smyrna. Certainly Cape Canaveral and Vero Beach are still in those surge warnings. So, Michael, this thing's going to pull away. We'll see the winds dwindle, and by this afternoon and evening, it'll be well out into the Atlantic. It's not coming anywhere close to the northeast or southeast because the front and a couple other things keeping it way far away from us, which we need a break.
We definitely need a break, Ginger. But bye-bye to Milton. I'm sure everyone wants to say that, and thank you so much for that. And as we heard Ginger say in her piece, the hurricane spawned more than 30 reported tornadoes. Let's go to Josie Carbonari in Wellington, Florida, from our station WPBF with just a glimpse of the damage. Good morning, Josie.
Well, good morning, Michael. So we're in what is known as the Preserve neighborhood here in Wellington, Florida, Palm Beach County, for those of you unfamiliar. And the extent of the damage is shocking. When my photographer and I first arrived, we weren't sure what we were going to walk into, but let me show you guys what we're seeing here on the ground. There are multiple homes that have damage. Take a look at this home over here. The garage doors have been completely blown in. There is a bunch of debris all across the road as well. All of these homes have experienced extensive debris. This is all massive trees that have either fallen over, toppled over, or just completely split in half. And then if you come over this way, the most shocking image that you're going to see today here out of Wellington is the vehicle that toppled over onto this house. It flipped over and pinned against the front door, so these folks can't even get out of their front door. This massive tree also pinning the large car to the front of the house. So this is a very incredible thing to see in person. I've been covering many storms, and this is the first time that I've seen anything like this. We are also seeing orange X's on driveways and garage doors. What that means is first responders have gone door to door to make sure everybody's safe, everybody's clear. Luckily here in this area, there weren't any injuries. But again, that wasn't the case in other areas. Here, though, everybody was okay. But I do want to show you guys one more thing that was incredible for me to see. If you come over this way, we saw a mailbox that's actually a heavy metal mailbox.
The rest of the country is seeing out of Florida. This is a taste of some live coverage from earlier from Good Morning America. This is from Wellington, Florida. We have seen garage doors blown in on houses, trees, and cars pinned up against the front door. And you can only hope, as we see some of those images continuing to come out, that people evacuated and took this storm seriously.
And it was pretty insane, around 1:30 yesterday from the Fort Myers area because of a tornado that touched down there. We saw roofs already off of homes. Yeah. We saw, trees down power lines already. For some parts of our state, they experienced so much chaos even before this hurricane made landfall. It's really quite remarkable.
And we are seeing those impacts right here in Central Florida as people wake up. We've been reporting water rescues, and we're now seeing closures on our roadways because of flooding. The Turnpike southbound is shut down near US 27. The Florida Highway Patrol says this area is underwater. So we are seeing those impacts this morning. And it's not just this, Kirsten. We're also hearing from Sanford on some of the flooding there.
Yeah, they are saying, of course, be mindful for flooded roadways. Do not drive through them. They gave a list there on their Twitter page. I'm not going to give all of the areas. I will name some. Historic Goldsboro Boulevard and Persimmon Avenue, Rosalia Drive and Sanford Avenue, First and Park Avenue. So important not to drive through that flooding because, as you showed us earlier, Alexa,
okay.
I'm sorry. We've been at work for quite some time. There was a road in Orange City that literally a gaping hole, a gaping hole in this road. And granted, that area was dry, but imagine, Cassie, that area was flooded. That's why you don't drive through. You don't know what's underneath. You think, oh, it's safe because it's a road. No, you could literally fall in.
Well, and a lot of this happened too at nighttime. And when you talk about, you can't see in general, you know, I think during the day you think you have a better idea kind of depth perception.
Of a gauge,
right. But in the middle of the night and early morning hours, you really don't. But we take you outside, and again, we continue to see the system pull away from us. We're going to get into some improvement finally here across Central Florida as we go through the remainder of our morning and into our afternoon. Milton just off our coastline as a Category 1 storm, winds at 85 miles per hour, still bringing tropical storm force conditions over near our coastline still this morning. We're going to continue to see kind of those battering waves, dangerous surf height anywhere from 7 to 12 feet out along our east coast, and still those gusty showers happening essentially I-95 and a little bit inland up in parts of Flagler, Volusia, but even parts of eastern Seminole and Orange County getting some of that rainfall early this morning. If we take a look at those active live wind gusts for us, again, most of us in that 30 to 35 mile per hour range. In our southern locations, Daytona Beach, some improvement. Just moments ago, we still had wind gusts over 50 miles per hour, but a huge change from the peak numbers we saw through the overnight. Again, I just updated these about an hour ago. The National Weather Service putting out kind of a blast of some of the peak wind gusts, some of the largest over in Brevard County, Playa Linda Beach, Kennedy Space Center at 92 mile per hour wind gusts through the overnight and early this morning. So we're going to continue to push Milton away from us as we head through the day. It'll remain breezy, but we're going to get some changes as we're cleaning up here in Central Florida. Some nice weather will be upon us. I'll have more on that coming up as we take you through the rest of this morning. Kirsten and Alexa.
Approaching 9:30 on this Thursday morning, we'll have more coverage of the recovery phase now of Hurricane Milton right after the break here on Channel 9. 9:30 on this Thursday morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kirsten Delgado.
And I'm Alexa Lorenzo. Right now at 9:30, we're awaiting a news conference from the Brevard County Emergency Operations Center there. We are eager to hear about their response this morning. We know there was a tornado that touched down in Cocoa Beach last night. Our Giovanni Diaz is reporting on that. So we are again awaiting that news conference with Brevard.
Really some sad, devastating images coming out of Cocoa Beach with businesses just destroyed. It's really a tough scene, but we do have some remarkable pictures also coming out of downtown St. Petersburg.
This is a big crane that fell into a building along First Avenue. That building just happens to house the offices of the Tampa Bay Times. So these pictures are courtesy of Mike's weather page. You can see the damage to this building. That crane is nothing more than twisted metal now. The debris fell down and blocked the road. It's another example of the sheer force from Hurricane Milton. Thankfully, no injuries were reported there, but we've already seen on social media this morning some people going out this morning to assess the damage. They maybe live nearby. Just some incredible impacts overnight here in St. Pete.
That's such a massive piece of construction. To think how powerful the storm was to push it, you know.
Yeah.
Also in St. Pete, this incredible sight from Tropicana Field. This is a stadium where the Tampa Bay Rays, a Major League Baseball team, plays. You see there the high winds just shredded the roof. This was supposed to be a place of safety where thousands of first responders would be staged before moving out to take care of trying to get the power back on. But we do have good news. There are multiple reports the first responders staged there were relocated rather before the storm hit. Just a few essential personnel were inside when it happened. St. Pete Fire and Rescue tell us everyone that was there is okay. That is the good news coming out of our coverage. We've seen so much awful destruction coming from the Gulf Coast.
We want to take you now to Brevard County where that news conference is underway. Let's listen in.
Pretty much what John and the team had predicted it was going to do. Our big concern about having any type of tornadoes became a reality. We had one touchdown in Cocoa Beach. Thankfully, it looks like structural damage there. No loss of life or no one injured. But that's always the big concern when we have a storm that's lingering around this long. John, the storm's done some damage to us. We've got about 93,000 here in Brevard County, but without power. What else are we looking at?
Yeah, so we're, good morning, Brevard. Yeah, we have about 93,000 out, not unexpectedly. That number will probably continue to rise a little bit. And FPL's got crews out working already to restore. So we'll continue to work that as we go through. What we saw sort of countywide, as to your point, what we talked about, we saw potential for heavy rainfall, and we saw that sporadically throughout the county, starting about mid-evening yesterday, all the way through early this morning. Some wind damage, and we'll have teams out today and tomorrow assessing and trying to figure those things out. We'll also have a tool for our residents where they can report to us any damage that they've experienced, either by going to our website or finding us on social media, your website, and all those kinds of things. That should be out in about the next half hour for folks. What we're talking about is we absolutely saw tropical storm force winds in the county. So far, the highest gust we've heard is about 75 miles an hour, maybe a little higher. That data will still come in, but right in that range of strong tropical storm force winds, low category 1. And we're going to probably see about somewhere between 6 and 9 inches countywide with rain. So
yeah, myself and one of our chiefs was out riding around quite a bit last night, and as we watched the storm kind of roll in and saw the minimal damage that it was doing, I think a lot of that goes to the credit of our citizens that were well prepared. They had their homes boarded up, they had debris cleaned up, limbs and everything out of the way. So our damage was minimized by being prepared, like we always talk about. Nice. I think too, this storm, we had said from the very beginning what we thought it was going to do based upon all the data and everything we had. And we talked about responding to it, not reacting. And that's exactly what we did here in Brevard County. Let's touch on a couple things, some updates. Landfill will be open tomorrow. They're going to close throughout the day. Waste management will begin back well. No changes to any of the other closures. Schools will be closed on Friday, but they're also closed on Monday. But that was a pre-planned closure, so they're not extended because of the storm. Something was already scheduled. So kids are getting a good long break. Unfortunately, the parents are not, because they're having to contend with the kids, but that's okay. So generator safety, some things that we want to talk about there, John.
Yeah, that's what we talked about yesterday, Sheriff. Remind folks that if you are without power, you are going to be using your generator. Make sure you, don't use your generator in your garage or inside, right? We want to avoid that. Make sure it's well away from your property, and also be conscious of your neighbor, right? So you don't want to move it so far away from your property that you move it right to your neighbor's open window. And again, we always encourage folks, make sure if you are going to use a generator, you've got a carbon monoxide detector in your house, so we're avoiding any of those kinds of things. And then while we're talking about recovery, Sheriff, just remind folks they're going to be out there and they're going to be doing those kinds of things. Be smart and safe when you're doing yard cleanup. Let's be smart when we're using chainsaws. If we've got trees out there, let's be real diligent in how we're doing that. Let's use good, and we're staying hydrated, right? It'll be a little cooler, but they're going to be out there working long hours. Want to stay hydrated.
Yeah. Also, we have some intersections that the power outage, the lights are out. Practice the four-way stop concept as you come up to those intersections. Be careful, everybody slow down, and just take your time. Right now, we would ask that you're still not out, just kind of going around looking to see what kind of damage. Give us a little bit more time to work on all that, make sure power lines are safe, no flooding area. We saw some flooding, especially during the night up in the north end of the county, but that seems to have minimized now, and most of the roads are passable. So the only other thing we'll touch on is we talked about causeways earlier. This was one of those storms where we were able to check in with our local partners on the beach, the municipalities over there. By 6:45, they had given us a thumbs up, and we never even closed the causeways to do anything other than just structurally check them. We were able to get people started back across. So everything worked just like we wanted it to. Again, a lot of people, if you had a chance to look on some of the live broadcasts, there's about 150 people in the room next door to us from all different disciplines that are in there making sure every tool we need is here and ready to go. So, John, anything else to touch on?
Just two things for me, Sheriff, just to wrap up. We'll see breezy conditions continue throughout the day. We'll see some gusts in that tropical storm force winds, just like we've been talking about. As Milton makes that exit, we're going to see those winds right along the barrier islands hang out. So we're under a hurricane warning now. Probably go to a tropical storm warning. They like to step those things down. And then I think by mid-afternoon, we'll come out of it. We talk about all of our partners. I think one of the things we're blessed with here is we have National Weather Service in Melbourne in our county. We have such a close partnership. So one of the reasons we're able to get the data we are and then relate it to our residents is the hard work of those men and women. So thank you to you guys out there at the National Weather Service.
Absolutely. Yeah, great partnership. This will be our last update. You can also keep checking back on our Facebook page. If anything changes, we'll update it in the comments section. and then you can go to your website. And what's the website again, John?
It's www.em-brevard.com. And you can also get us at Brevard EOC on X and Facebook and those kinds of things. And
BrevardSheriff.com. That's it for us. I'm about to head out where myself and some of our team members are heading over to Hillsborough County, help our brothers and sisters over there with the impact that they've had. But we appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Thank you so much for working with us. Keep everybody safe, and that's exactly what happened. So we'll see you next time.
If you're just joining us, this is a press conference just wrapping up with the Brevard County EOC. Of course, we had Sheriff there, Wayne Ivey, giving us updates and recovery and just letting us know some simple tips, reminders at this time. We can get, frazzled and forget some simple things. But of course, generator safety, and make sure your generator didn't move overnight because of the winds. It's away from a window and that you have to run it. Just be safe, being cautious when you run that generator, and mindful if you lost power. I do want to remind you, though, and of course, Cassie will get into this further. If you lost power, that is frustrating. I know it's terrible. There are 50,000 linemen, though, at the ready to respond. And in the meantime, Mother Nature's helping us out, because starting tonight, we'll have lows in the 60s.
Yeah, so something to look forward to. The sheriff also explained this will be their final Hurricane Milton update. The good news that did come out of it is they have not seen anyone hurt after that tornado touchdown, just structural damage. So a big lift there for recovery, but no loss of life. So that is good news out of Brevard this morning. Stay with us as we take you across Central Florida as we continue to track the recovery process of Hurricane Milton.
Just a devastating, historic storm.
We had 126 tornado warnings yesterday, the most ever issued in Florida.
Before, during, and after the storm. Depend on Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
9:42 on this Thursday morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kirsten Delgado.
And I'm Alexa Lorenzo. We are welcoming you back to our continuous coverage as we begin the recovery process for Hurricane Milton.
It's something very daunting to take on, right? For a lot of you, you're listening to us on WDBO because you lost power and you're using your battery-operated radio. Please know that there are 50,000 linemen at the ready to respond. Also, a little bit of a silver lining with the weather. We will have lows in the 60s starting tonight into the next week, so that's good. But we are getting some images. I'm looking right now at Seminole County Fire Department in Winter Springs, just homes flooded. It's ridiculous. You're seeing images like this on the road, too.
Yeah, this is in Lake County. It's State Road 46. It is shut down right at US 441 because of flooding. You can see that car that was driving through earlier there, rippling through the water. That area, again, shut down because of flooding. And this is also out of Seminole County, Kirsten. It's Forest Avenue in Altamont Springs, right near Altamont Drive. And you can see right here a down power line, sparked some flames with it, down trees, the smoke there on the ground. Crews are out there. We know, thankfully, one person that was hurt in this is expected to be okay.
And that's why they always give the reminders of, I know you're antsy right now, you've been in the house and it was a scary time overnight, but you have to just hang in there a little bit more because you want to let first responders get out there and clear all this up. You don't know if these power lines are active. You can't see what's around you. You don't want to step in something and then all of a sudden you are hurt or potentially something even worse. And this is why you also don't drive through flooding, because obviously this area is dry, but if this was flooded, you can go literally right under.
Yeah, this road washout really took us by surprise. It's 1792 south of Enterprise Road, so this area is impassable, understandably so. You can see what the storm did to this roadway. We have Orange City Police out there this morning, as well as crews with the Florida Department of Transportation, so they're on it. But again, we can see the impacts this morning. The search and recovery mode is now underway as Milton is moving into the Atlantic.
Channel 9's Giovanni Diaz has a look at the damage left behind in Brevard County.
We are in Brevard County, the very last We are in Brevard County, the very last county to be touched by Hurricane Milton as it moves offshore here in Florida. You can see the damage that was left behind here. This was a supercuts, and I'm saying was because this is the damage that was caused by a tornado that touched down this area yesterday. You can see just the pieces of furniture inside of that business right now. And just as this business was impacted, many other businesses also were impacted here in this location because of this tornado that touched down here in this area. Pieces of the roof continue to fall down here as the winds continue to blow in this location here. If you follow me this way, you can see there are pieces of the roof that just flew by us earlier today. We have been here for many hours, since about 3-4 in the morning, and those pieces just keep moving around here because the winds are still blowing very strongly. It's actually better now. It was much stronger earlier today. Now, if you follow me this way, you see tree branches here still on the ground, and there is even a wire here that we are not sure if it is attached to any power line or anything, so we're not going to get any close to it. But again, this is just to show you the impact of this tornado here and the impact of this system that moved through Central Florida over the past hours. We have been talking to folks here at this location. I actually just spoke with a gentleman who came here because he had no power at his home, and he just wanted to see around and see the damage that was caused by this system that moved through our region here. And he was quite surprised when he got here and then he saw everything that this tornado caused. Take a listen.
I ran out of power, and I live around the area. This is like my hometown area, and so there's not much better to do other than see how bad it was.
And those are sheets that cover the roof of this covered parking lot here in Brevard County, very close to the east coast of Florida. And this is once again just to show how impactful the winds were here at this location. Now, thousands of people were without power. That number keeps fluctuating because they are working to reestablish the power here for the folks in this community. But again, tens of thousands of people without power here in this area of Brevard County. And we'll continue to follow every development of this storm here and everything that this storm left behind. For now, reporting in Brevard County, Florida, I'm Giovanni Diaz.
Gio, thank you. And we saw the moments that Hurricane Milton uprooted a tree. It was a scary sight for people in that neighborhood. It's something that we've seen across Central Florida, just trees uprooted. The strong, strong winds did all this damage.
This particular incident that was shared to us from Titusville, resident actually caught it when it happened.
Oh, there it goes.
And we've seen so many images like that across Central Florida. You're getting images from friends sending from Altamont Springs and Winter Park, just little trees at the root pulled from the earth and just torn down.
Or snapped in half. Scary sounds, I'm sure.
Yes.
Maybe for some people who were sleeping when that happened.
New this morning, we're seeing the damage firsthand from Milton, what it caused.
Yeah, our Channel 9 team is at the scene of this tree, another tree here that fell into a home in Orlando. You can see it snapped right here and just landed on the roof of this home. The good news is, from what we see, it didn't cause major damage, right? Sometimes we've seen where these roofs take the whole house with it. So, of course, a major cleanup process that'll have to happen here, but it doesn't seem that it was something that took the whole roof with it.
Obviously, we can't see underneath, right? But we can only hope that maybe it just kind of flopped on the roof and didn't go through. We're hoping for that homeowner and so many of you out there that your damage, if you have any, is minimal.
Yeah. Certified meteorologist Cassandra Kermey has been watching all these images come in with us early this morning. You're really not too surprised with these trees, Cassie.
No, we anticipated wind gusts 75, 85, and again, we were forecasting we could get up to 100, and we had wind gusts up to 92, or some of the biggest that we have seen. A lot of that was over in parts of Brevard County, but where Milton stands right now, Category 1 storm, it is moving off our coastline, and we can't get it away fast enough, but it still is bringing some some breezy winds at our coastline. We still have some of those gusty showers as we get over into parts of Flagler, Volusia, Brevard, even eastern Seminole and Orange County. You'll have these fast-moving showers roll on through. But I want to take a look at some of the rain. Just a few moments ago, about 30 minutes, we talked a lot about those wind gusts peaking 85 to 92 miles per hour. But look at this rainfall. This is over the last 48 hours. Everybody got rain, and most of central Florida, you can see falling within the orange to red to fuchsia, back into the blues and whites. And if we start to just sample this area that essentially rides right along I-4, we're looking at rain totals over the last 2 days, 12, 13, 14 plus inches of rain. That in and of itself is what's led to some of this localized flooding and ponding on some of our roadways. But this also needs to go somewhere when we look forward in the next couple of days. I don't anticipate a whole lot of rain moving forward over at the coast, a couple of tenths of an inch really with these scattered showers. But I want to hit on some of our local rivers just a little bit, and the St. John's to be more exact. There's flood warnings in place up and down. You can see the St. John's from Seminole all the way up into Lake and Volusia County. And if we kind of pinpoint, they do a lot of modeling with the forecasting to see when it would crest. Some of these points, when you look out in the distance and time, not even the crest is not even on the map for the forecast just yet. So up in Astor, that's actually where we're seeing the biggest flooding concerns right now. The river was already sitting at major flood stage. Right now, it's at 4.45 feet. Major flood stage is 4 feet for that location of the river, and it's expected to continue to rise as we take you through the weekend. We head a little bit further south, DeLand. Right now, at last check, the river level sat at 4.85 feet. Major flood stage 5.3, but we're expected to reach that major flood stage by tomorrow. Then we head further south near Sanford. Right now we sit at 5.38 feet. The major flood stage is about 8 feet, and that's expected to rise all weekend. Then we get down closer towards Lake Harney. We're sitting at 7.3 foot for the river, and the major flood stage is at about 10. We're expected to reach that 10-foot line and potentially exceed it as we get closer towards our Sunday time frame. So there's going to be a lot of post-flooding concerns with this storm system, not just the St. John's, but a lot of our local creeks and rivers that we're going to continue to monitor. But if we go back to those wind gusts, you can see outside locally where we still sit. We do still have some locations, 20, 30, 35, even 40 mile per hour wind gusts. I anticipate that we actually start to see some of the tropical storm warnings and hurricane warnings that are still in place. Once they fade out, actually be replaced by wind advisories as we head through the afternoon, because it is going to be breezy as the system pulls away. Not as windy as we had through the overnight. Again, this is a list at some of the front runners. There was a lot of spots, 60, 70, 75 mile per hour wind gusts, but these were some of the biggest. I took the top 6 to show you. Kennedy Space Center, Playa Linda, the biggest wind gusts at 92 miles per hour. OIA, 87 mile per hour wind. That's why that system shut down yesterday for all of the flights in and outbound at OIA. But as we take you through the next couple of days, again, you can see the advisories at 8 o'clock. Wind still at 85 miles per hour with Milton. Expected to remain a hurricane as we head into the afternoon, and then it becomes a remnant, kind of absorbed into a front. That's actually going to bring us some pretty decent weather here over Central Florida over the next couple of days. Here's an outlook of what you can expect for today. Hour by hour, again, a little bit of isolated shower activity through the morning hours, through midday, still very gusty to breezy, especially at our beaches. But then as we head into the late afternoon and evening, still breezy, but we're going to start to dial those wind backs quite a bit. We'll look for temperatures in the 70s and take a look at this 7-day forecast. Kirsten alluded to this, the 60s through the overnight, starting tonight and really hitting us every single night all the way through the weekend, potentially all the way into next week with afternoon highs in the low to mid 80s. We could even have some mid and upper 70s as we head into next week. And for those without power, if you're hearing us on a battery operated radio device on WDBO or any of our local local radio stations that you may be dealing with some pretty comfortable weather. We had a lot of this, if you remember, with Ian. Ian kind of brought in that the first sign of our dry and of our fall season. We've got that going on as well. You can see the water vapor imagery. Yesterday we showed you this. You could see that spinning storm just in the Gulf of Mexico. Now we've got dry air replacing it. This deep shades of orange. This is that cooler, drier air that's going to be moving in. So for those without power, that means they're out without AC. And for us here in Central Florida, we know that is a big concern. So we're actually going to have some pretty decent weather as this storm system pulls away. But again, Hurricane Milton just off our east coast, continuing to track away from us, headed towards the east. And we're going to start to have improving conditions as we go through the day today. Kirsten and Alexa.
Well, thank you so much, Cassie. Silver lining there with some cooler temperatures on the way. We also want to bring you some video. Water rescue started before dawn this morning in Orange County. This is video that we got from the Orange County Fire Rescue, them heading out to the area of water rescues in Edgewater and Winter Park. It appeared that they were going and responding to a home. There was a fire truck that went very slowly through that flooding as to not cause any more issues with the homes that they're passing. And then first responders, as you can see here, kind of treading through that water about knee-high or so.
Yeah, they're kicking it up. There's a good bit of water there.
And it's not the only images we saw.
Yeah, we have seen some others coming out of South Volusia County as well. So we are seeing those impacts, those water rescues across some of the Central Florida area this morning.
Elizabeth officials are urging everyone to stay off the road after Milton, of course, ripped through our area.
Yeah, light poles, trees, and debris are down near West North Boulevard, US 27, and Dixie Avenue. Traffic lights are also out or have already fallen into intersections. Cleanup teams are on standby, but they are waiting right now until conditions are absolutely safe. So if you need emergency services, go ahead and call 911.
And now that Hurricane Milton is moved away from our area, you may need some extra help.
The Heart of Florida United Way is here for you. They're partnering with the Hurricane Helpline to connect you to these important services. All you need to do is call 211. It's a free and confidential service available 24/7 all year long.
9:56 on this Thursday morning. We'll be right back with more recovery as we're now past Hurricane Milton here in Central Florida. I have more after the break here. Continuous coverage on Channel 9.
Central Florida's chief meteorologist, Tom Terry.
People have really trusted me for nearly 3 decades, and that's something I take personally.
Tracking storms for 28 years.
I've seen just about everything you can see here weather-wise, so no matter what the weather brings, I vow to get it right.
With a proven legacy built on trust.
It's my job to give you the most accurate details and keep you safe.
Central Florida's chief meteorologist, Tom Terry, only on Channel 9 Eyewitness News.